going in just a minute. Quite look like 120 people in here at the moment. I'm sure we're all still getting coffees or something.
But yeah, please make sure, as Scott said, we've got expecting 120 people. So if you can squidge in, make sure that you...
yeah, if you don't mind, if you've got like an aisle seat, maybe just shuffle up to give other people the room, because I'm sure they're going to filter in over the next 15 minutes. All right, but we'll kick things off because we've got a pretty tight, packed agenda today. So welcome to Morning Startup and welcome to the 2025 launch of Innovators of the Year.
Who's excited?
Woo! Yeah, rock on. So first things first, though, this is part of Morning Startup. Whose first time is it at a Morning Startup event?
Welcome.
Quite a few. How many of those have never heard of Morning Startup before today, before this event? All right, a few, cool. So it's run every 2 weeks, rain, hail or shine, and it's for entrepreneurs, founders, startup people in WA just to get together as often as possible. So you know every 2 weeks you're going to come and hear an interesting presentation. So we've usually got a speaker talking about something cool. We've got you next week.
We sure do. And it's something relevant to the startup community. So we've had all kinds of weird and wonderful presentations over the years. And how long have we been running for, Scott?
13 years. Yeah, a fair bit. So
and the dad jokes haven't changed.
Not at all. We should probably introduce ourselves too. My name is Scott Glue. I'm that guy over there. And we've got Erin Clark. But we also have 2 other organisers. Nina, where's Nina gone? Out the back. Cool. She'll be cruising around. And Dave Newman, who's feeling a little bit crook today, so he's had to naff off after doing a fine work setting up the chairs. Thanks, Dave. But what we'd like to do, first of all, it's probably my favourite bit, as Glenn gets his banner ready. Hey, Glenn! Shameless plugs and announcements. How does this work, Erin?
So how does this work is we get to play a thing called Price is Right. So one of the big parts of the startup community is hearing about the lovely things that different founders are working on. And Shameless Plugs and Announcements is exactly what it says, which is we invite people to spruik their wares and ask for connections.
That's right. Stand up, give us a 30-second or maybe a little bit shorter today plug about what you are doing.
This is how it's
played.
played.
Love the enthusiasm. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Steph. I'm an occupational therapist, and we are actually launching tonight here, OT Me, which is an app for children, which is bridging the gap between wait times for occupational therapy. So we're launching tonight. Did I say that? Yeah.
Nice work.
That is how it's done.
Shameless plugs. Who's next?
Hi, Josh Portlock, co-founder of Electrobase, and we're launching a new round to close out our last chance of ESIC investing next month. So hope to chat to you guys about the opportunity in sustainable batteries for EV charging in rural applications especially. Thank you.
Fantastic. Who's next?
Hello, all. I'm Ruben from Ruben's Media Productions. So tonight, this Sunday, I will be releasing my new show reel as well. So not quite as exciting as these 2 announcements, but still something to stay tuned on. So Ruben's Media Productions, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you.
Sure, it is
Awesome.
just exciting. So short. Got another one there over Russell. Yeah, it's a hot area.
Hi, I'm Russell from Pod2. We are your one-stop shop for podcasting, radio shows, syndication. So if you know anyone that's doing a podcast or wanting to get into radio, or maybe a DJ doing a dance festival, we just signed EDC Live, which is a 3-day, 9-stage dance festival. We'll be recording their stages and turning it into radio shows for them. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Awesome.
All right. Any others brave enough to stand up and... No? All right. We've got to move on anyway, I think. Thank you very much. So, just a little bit about Morning Startup. If you're not a morning person, we also have Founder Sundowner at the first Wednesday of every month at other side of nowhere in West Leederville, so please come along. if you're doing your maths, the first Wednesday of the month is actually today. So come along tonight and we'll see you there.
Ooh, it's like normally I feel quite under pressure to talk about the New Industries Fund, but maybe I won't, because that's we're going to be hearing a lot about the programs that are provided by Jetsy today.
We need to update the logo.
Yeah, we do. So what pretty much the crux of today is the Innovators of the Year 2025.
Absolutely. And there's a whole range of other programs provided by still Jitsy, right? Job, Science, Tourism, Innovation. Yeah, cool for now. And if you want to get your startup out there, you can also head to wa.dealroom.co and put as much or as little information about your startup up there as you like, and it helps keep track of the innovation ecosystem in WA. Thank you to Jitsy, because they're helping us out with the live stream. And every single morning startup is live streamed, so check it out.
And thank you, because we get an amazing number. So we've now got a library of 12 years worth of recordings.
Ooh, we haven't been live streaming for all of those 12 years, but
we've got an amazing library of
Absolutely.
all of the speakers that we've had over the last few years.
So yeah, that URL there, it's not just the live stream, it's also all the past events as well. So check it out. Ammo marketing. So we just need to...
I'm interpreting ammo for you.
The ammo dance. Yeah, okay. Sorry, in joke. We just have a few quick sponsors that we want to thank that help Morning Startup keep running. This isn't a free thing. We've got food and coffees and all that sort of stuff. So thank you very much, first of all, to Ammo Marketing. I think we've got Jack in the audience over there. If you want to hit the accelerator on your business, and they really know their stuff around marketing, and great supporters of the startup ecosystem as well. They're always doing events and mentoring and a whole load of other things, especially the Weird Growth podcast. So get out your podcast player and subscribe to Weird Growth, and there's some interviews with startup founders in Perth. It's really, really good.
Beecham Group. More than just putting up banners. Glenn from Beecham Group has been a fantastic supporter of Morning Startup and has some great insights about recruiting tech talent in the West Australian ecosystem. We usually hear from him, but I don't think we've got time to hear from him.
Sorry,
He's great.
don't have time for your 30 seconds.
Grab him over a coffee. He's an absolute oracle. Ask him all of your tricky recruitment questions.
And keep space. So the food today, we're going to have some food during the networking session after the event, is provided by Jitsy today. Thank you very much. But usually it's provided by the fine folks at Keep Space. So if you're in e-commerce, you're sending physical goods around the world, they have a warehouse here in Perth and a warehouse in Melbourne, and a cool digital platform to tie it all together. So if 3PL is an acronym that you guys know, then get on to Keep Space. And thanks for the food. And Purpose Ventures. We've also got Kylie here in the audience. Don't know if there's Derek here as well. Oh, it's a shame. Him and Dave have been hanging out too much, I think. So Purpose Ventures, they're a VC here in Perth. Very amazing VC. They invest in purpose-driven founders. So if you're looking for funding and you fall into that category, please reach out to Purpose Ventures and they can help you out with funding. If they don't invest in your startup, they'll at least shout you a coffee every second week at Morning Startup. So thank you very much, Purpose Ventures, for sponsoring the coffees for 2025.
Space Cubed is exactly where we are, and other parts of the startup ecosystem, check them out. Particularly Startup WA is a great advocate for what's happening. Absolutely.
Got any Startup WA people here? Okay, cool. Yep, but they're our body for lobbying to government, so make sure you're a member, and it's free. You get all of their news and updates. Cool. This is a cool QR code put together by the fine folks at Meshpoint. So if you're a startup and you're in agtech or whatever industry and you don't know how to get started or what programs to connect with, there's a whole range of programs in Perth that you can get involved with for your particular vertical. So on that QR code, there's a little chatbot that you can talk to and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and it will help connect you to the right place. So very, very useful resource. Thanks to Meshpoints for putting that together.
Fantastic. Yep, fantastic. So we meet physically every fortnight, but outside of that, we know that being a startup founder can times be a bit of a tough gig. So we've also got a presence online so that founders can connect and continue the conversation outside of events. again, scan the QR code to connect with us. But we're really encouraging people to join our Slack group and keep chatting about what you're working on.
Absolutely, yeah. Have a conversation with other founders in between.
This is
As
awkward.
I said, in 2 weeks' time, we've got the famous Erin Clark here. What are you going to talk about in 2 weeks' time?
What am I going to talk about? So, a bit of fun is talking about org design for startups. So, I spent part of my time working in the startup ecosystem, and I also spent part of my time working in the corporate space. So, really taking some of the boring textbook stuff and making it practical for startup founders.
Yeah, I can't wait. Who's like scaling up at this point in time and needs to think about how to actually structure your organisation and all of that stuff? It's a really interesting space, so I can't wait to hear about it.
And it's the thing you spend all your money on.
God, hopefully not. All right. And that is the morning startup formalities out of the way. Boom.
Oh,
Get it?
yes,
Come on.
formalities.
Cool. How are we going for time? Oh, we're good. So that's it for us. We're going to hand over now to James Newen, who's going to take us through the program today for the Innovators of the Year launch. So please make him welcome, James Newen.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I've got some formalities that I need to run to as well, but I'll try to match the energy that we've just had there. Firstly, good morning and welcome to the 2025 Innovator of the Year launch today. My name is James Newen. I'm currently the Executive Director for Innovation and Emerging Industries at the Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation, which I will refer to as JITSI. And I've got the great pleasure of having innovation as one of my portfolio and having the great opportunity to be here. Yes, and I have some slides that I'll... There we go. Thanks, Scott, and Morning Startup, for hosting us today. The other challenge I've got also is to keep this short and sharp and moving, so I'm just going to run through this very quickly because we do have a big agenda today. So, firstly, just want to make some special welcomes to the Parliamentary Secretary, to the Minister for Science and Innovation, Lisa O'Malley, MLA, here representing the Honourable Stephen Dawson, MLC, Minister for Science and Innovation. Our patron for the Innovator of the Year, Professor Fiona Wood, AM, is on her way now, so she will join us shortly and also be part of today's event in terms of speaking. Our previous patron of the Innovator of the Year, Professor Lynn Beasley, should hopefully be joining us too shortly. Rebecca Brown, our Director General of the Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation. Our very important and valued sponsors for their ongoing support of the program, our primary sponsor, Rio Tinto. Our Platinum Award sponsor, Biodesign Australia, Business News, Wesfarmers, Woodside Energy, and the Young Entrepreneurs Academy. Gold sponsors, Siri, Nexia Australia, Raise. Silver sponsor, Siro, Australian Innovation Management Institute, Better Labs, and More Australia. Our JITSI Innovation Advisory Board members, for those that are joining us today, and obviously our investors, our innovators, and particularly thanking everyone for being here, particularly making the effort to come here in person, or those that will be joining us online, and obviously many of those will be regional. And it's great that we can actually make these events and these sessions available to people that can't make it in Perth. It's fantastic to see so many people here, many passionate, inspiring Western Australians that are sort of driving innovation in the state. So I'll just quickly run through the agenda today. So firstly, we will have a pre-recorded speech, including acknowledgement of country from Honourable Minister Dawson. We have an opening speech by our Parliamentary Secretary, Lisa O'Malley, a speech on innovation in WA from Professor Fiona Wood, a speech about the program from the Director of Innovation at JITSI, Sandra Draper, and then we'll have Anne Dixon from a regionally based Blue Salt Consulting presenting on the key success factors for the completing a WA Innovator of the Year application, including some insights from two of our previous finalists that were here today. Followed by morning tea and networking. So the Minister Dawson, as many of you know, has been a really passionate and strong supporter for innovation in the state. Unfortunately, he can't be here today. He's over in Sydney with the Oz Biodesign Conference. Is that right? I think I may. Oh, sorry, AusMedTech. There's a few of them happening, but he's over there at AusMedTech supporting, obviously, our biomedical team within the Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation, and also the WA companies that are attending that as well. But we do have a pre-recorded video, and yep, next we'll hopefully work and play or yep.
Good morning, everyone. I'm disappointed I wasn't able to make it to this Innovator of the Year launch in person. However, I wanted to convey my very best wishes for the 2025 program. I would like to start by saying Nala Kadich Wajok Nyunga Murt Kayan Karak Nijibuja. I also acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which you are gathered today, the Wajok people of the Noongar Nation, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. Thank you, Scott and Dave, for allowing us to include the Innovator of the Year launch in your Morning Starter program. Innovator of the Year has made a big impact on the innovation community and stood the test of time, now in its 19th year. As the new Minister for Regional Development, I'm particularly pleased that this morning's launch proceedings are being live streamed to our regional areas, and I would highly encourage any regionally based innovators to take the plunge and put an application in. The program is guaranteed to support your commercialisation activities. A huge shout out to all of our sponsors. This program would not be possible without your support. I'm also very excited to see that our young entrepreneurs will have an opportunity to participate in this year's program through the new Young Innovators category. This award is open to all WA high school aged individuals or teams of up to 5 people from various educational streams. We know that for bright minds to grow and for big ideas to flourish, we need to support creative environments. And our investments in our young people now will contribute towards job creation and retention across WA in the future, in addition to diversifying our state's economy. All of our winners will share in a prize pool of over $280,000, with the winners in the emerging and growth categories to be awarded $60,000 each. And finalists will also get the opportunity to participate in the Accelerator program, which runs over 2 months and includes 14 comprehensive commercialisation training sessions, providing training and skill building to aid in running a successful startup. The session topics include pitch and media training, developing strategies, understanding legal requirements, accounting and intellectual property issues. And in addition, finalists will also receive promotional photos and or videos for their own marketing purposes. Thanks to Anna Dixon from Blue Salt Consulting for providing her expertise this morning to help our innovators write a winning application. Wishing everyone a great program ahead and good luck with all your applications, and I look forward to seeing you over the months.
Yep, and I would like to now welcome our Parliamentary Secretary, Lisa O'Malley.
Thank you, James. Thank you. I could just say what he said, but I'm going to read it out anyway. It is absolutely delightful to be here this morning. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to support the Minister in the important work that he's doing, which is, of course, supporting what you're doing. So let me just start by saying that. Since 2006, the Western Australian Innovator of the Year Awards has showcased it's too early to say it. Innovative and entrepreneurial individuals, businesses and creative minds. The program has benefited many of those who have participated as well as the broader community of Western Australia. In 2022, Minister Dawson unveiled the state's innovation strategy, setting forth an overreaching vision of making Western Australia a globally recognised centre of invention, investment, innovation and impact. The priority action areas of the strategy include diversity and inclusion, networks, precincts and shared facilities, and access to capital. Last year, Minister Dawson introduced the new Government Innovators Award, and as the Minister stated just now, this year another new award category has been included. Western Australia's Young Innovators of the Year. This is open to all WA high school aged individuals or teams, 1 to 5 people from various educational streams. And I would like, oh goodness me, I've missed a page. It's my first opportunity to represent the Minister, better not mess it up. Supporting creative environments helps bright minds thrive. Investing in young people drives future jobs and diversifies Western Australia's economy. The addition of this new award means the total number of prizes increases from 6 to 7. Once again, in a bid to celebrate a broader spectrum of innovators, there will continue to be 2 overall winners of the WA Innovators of the Year Awards, one representing the emerging pre-revenue category and the other the growth or post-revenue category. Recognising pre and post, it's the amazing Fiona Wood, let's all applaud. Sorry, I had to do that, Fiona. No, I've done that bit. Within each emerging and growth category, a runner-up will also be recognised and they will receive $15,000 each. Innovation can involve anything from incremental business improvements, alternative business models that disrupt entire industries, to scientific breakthroughs which push the boundaries of human endeavours. It affects all sectors of our economy and community, including businesses large and small, governments, not-for-profits, schools, universities and vocational providers. It's essential for our economy and our well-being, and indeed the planet. Celebrating a diverse range of innovators across various sectors, many of whom questioned the obvious, challenged the rules and kept it going even as it got hard, is crucial. I would like to finish off by emphasising the Western Australian Government's commitment to fostering innovation. We are dedicated to seeing our local innovation companies not only succeed but also expand their impact on a global scale. This requires us to recognise and celebrate the brilliant innovators driving change and progress. So if you or someone you know has developed something innovative here in Western Australia, I would urge you and them to consider applying this year. Please share program details with your networks, enabling us to identify, support and nurture the exceptional talent within our communities, especially in the regional areas. And thank you all for being here this morning.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And so next, and she is actually early, depending on time, but we have Winthrop Professor Fiona Wood, who is our patron for the WA Innovators of the Year program, and obviously from the WA government we're very grateful for not only her involvement with the Innovator of the Year but all the other amazing patrons and sponsorship and representation that she does for the state of Western Australia.
Thank you very much, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here this morning with my tribe. And as I was driving along, as I was slowly creeping along in the traffic, I was thinking of what I could share with you this morning. And I some of you may know that I've taken on a role as part of a panel looking at a strategic review of research and development across Australia. I stand back from that and think, why me? Yeah, and I'm a sucker for doing things I've never done before. And I think, I'm with my tribe, so you can understand that. I was asked to do this by Ed Husich because I'd been rude about politicians not actually taking notice of experts. And so I thought I'd criticised without engagement. And that's a big no in my book. If you criticise without engagement, you're not worth oxygen. Criticising with engagement and problem solving, I'm in, yeah? And so I'd actually committed the sin of a throwaway line, and I thought, I've got myself into this now. And so as I've been travelling this journey, which is started in December last year, it's been fascinating. It's been fascinating to understand and to learn about the simplicity of the Australian economy. Pathetically simplistic, yeah? And, if we're really wanting to be a global, have global impact, we need 3 billion more just to be into our R&D space, just to become on par with other comparable countries. Where are we going to get that from? And then we start looking at the problems of the chain, from the research, the innovation, the commercialization. There's the growth and into cochlea or whatever, and it's just fascinating because it absolutely cemented in my mind the fundamental importance of my tribe, right? Of innovation. Without innovation, we are a fish flapping on the dock. Without innovation, we have no vision of what tomorrow can be. And so without innovation, we will have and continue to have a very effective but simple, non-diverse economy. But it isn't sustainable. There will become a bottom to that hole in the ground at some point. And it may be done with increasing research and development around and innovation around how to get said hole in ground bigger and cost effective. But really, when we step back from that, let's think about what we can do and what we can achieve by actually looking at the world's problems and being serious about tackling them. And so where are we going to get those funds from? And we've got to start being smart and innovative about that as well. I think we're really blessed in WA at the moment with the support we have from government. It's unprecedented. It's facilitated a groundswell. I started my journey in 1990s. Well, I started it a long time before that, but otherwise you'll think I'll be coming out of my Zimmer frame soon. And so, and it was an austere environment. Not to say it isn't is a relatively austere environment now, trying to initiate a commercialization sort of strategy from an innovation, from an idea that's something that's kept you awake at night, that you've been thinking about. I absolutely understand. There's challenges that remain, and there'll be challenges of the future, but we are supported. And then it's down to how are we going to really engage with a level of tenacity and a level of capacity to work that will facilitate those who fund us to come to the table time and time and time again. And then so that then as the small seed funding or angel funding comes and we start to build that momentum, then the whole chain starts to work because everybody's got more confidence in you. More confidence that you will get up in the morning and not throw the towel in. More confidence that that there's no such thing as failure. The only failure I see is a decision you don't learn from. And if an idea doesn't actually make it through the pipe, that's not a failure, that's an opportunity for enormous learning. It's an opportunity to build the ecosystem, to build capacity, to build the knowledge to be on a board, to be part of the next one that comes along. Building the ecosystem, so there's no such thing as failure. It's a question of just keeping at it. And so when I look at those numbers, and they're very scary, I see that, in fact, we can address it, but we have to collaborate, and we have to collaborate meaningfully at every step of the way. And we have to understand that 100% of nothing is nothing. It's real simple maths. Yeah? And so in order to make something of your idea, you have to share it. There's no point in having the world's best concert violinist in a soundproof room. It's a waste for everybody. So we need to sing from the rooftops. We need to connect. We need to really share that energy, because that energy will grow. And as I say, it has grown. Things like the Innovator of the Year. It's a program that's been going now and building. And I've met some amazing people through that, And you think, they've got a piece of my jigsaw. I want to work with them. And so things build and grow. So I can't encourage you enough to spread the word and say we're open for business. And nothing's too hard. Dare I say, we do things not because they're easy, but because they are hard. I do believe somebody said that a few decades ago, yeah, where the moonshot, yeah. So we want to drive to the moonshot, but with an understanding that there's an awful lot of work along the way, and none of it will be wasted. And none of it will go by the wayside if we recognise it for what it is. That's an opportunity to learn and build a system that is fundamental to the future, not just of WA and Australia, but of the planet. You know, so we should be actually filling the Perth Convention Centre next year. So that's just a challenge. But so I would, as I say, encourage everybody to be part of this and spread the word, because tomorrow we will see a better day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very inspiring and wise words, and thanks for your continued support, obviously, for the program and everything else. And I think some of those words just quickly about, from the state government's point of view, what we're trying to do is grow the ecosystem and grow that for all. And that collaboration bit's very important. And obviously we want to collaborate with you guys in terms of understanding the needs and where government can help. Again, with that big picture of lifting the whole ecosystem up, and obviously supporting not only the innovation ecosystem, but also supporting the broader objectives of government in diversifying and obviously creating more jobs and a prosperous future for us all here. And now we'll move on to Sandra Draper, who will join us. She'll give a bit of an overview and some of the details of the program.
Yeah, thanks, James, and welcome everyone. It's really my great pleasure to welcome you this morning, in addition to those which have already been provided, and to say I mirror the Zimmer frame theory. Fiona, I've been involved with this program for a good number of its years, not all of 19, and I come with great anticipation this morning, thinking about the awards ceremony in October and what we'll see at the awards ceremony. So this is the beginning of the journey for many who will be involved in this year's program. So why should you be involved in the program? Well, there's a prize pool of over $280,000, which is significant, but I think the additional benefit for all finalists is that you have the opportunity to participate in the program which Minister mentioned earlier, which is a skills development accelerator style program, and there's significant benefit in that. The other benefit for finalists is that each receives a video of their project, which is showcased on the awards presentation evening, and it's yours to keep and then to use for your own promotional purposes. So consider not just the effort of applying, but what you might achieve through that process. Then how to go about applying. The QR code for the Good Grants platform will be shown at the end of presentations this morning. But you have the choice of applying for the Rio Tinto emerging or growth categories. If it's emerging, it's pre-revenue. If it's growth, it's post-revenue. And on the platform, you apply for one of those categories only. Then you have the option of applying for the Woodside Energy, Business News or Wesfarmers Wellbeing Awards. The Woodside Energy Innovation Award, the Business News Great for the State, and the Wesfarmers Wellbeing Awards. Those are tick box options through the application process, but your main application entry point is the emerging or growth categories. Government innovators and the young innovators also have the opportunity to apply on the platform. The process is slightly different for those, but you'll find the information when we have the QR code up there shortly. And then program timelines. The most important thing for you to know is that the program opens at 11 o'clock today, so you'll find details on the site.
Applications for the emerging and growth and the platinum categories close on the 11th of June, and then the young innovator and government innovators close on the 25th of July. And of course, where this program all comes together is the awards night in October. So I'd just like to ask Georgia Lilly, who's the program manager, just to stand so you can all recognise her. She's put a lot of effort into bringing this morning together, and I'd like to thank her for that. And finally, I'd like to introduce Anna Dixon, who's here with us to talk about how to write a compelling grant application. So thinking it through and then being, I guess, a bit reflective and descriptive in your application process. So Anna her business is Blue Salt Consulting, and we'd like to welcome Anna.
Thank you, Sandra. I'll just let Scott do some tech magic.
So there's probably some seats too.
Yes, there's a few seats if people want to use this moment to sneak in. Oh, okay. Thank you. So thanks, Scott, and thanks, Sandra, and thanks to the team at the New Industries Fund for inviting me here today. So I guess some of you are here because you've got an innovative concept, you think it's commercially viable, and you've been considering the Innovator of the Year program. But have you got total confidence in your ability to prepare that application? Maybe not, maybe so. So today's session aims to transform your WA Innovators of the Year application from good to exceptional. We've designed this presentation to enhance your skills, boost your confidence, and provide practical tools and insights when crafting a persuasive submission. Whether you're new to submissions or a seasoned pro, I'm confident you'll leave with some clarity and inspiration to present your innovation at its finest. And I must admit, I didn't plan on having a mic that wasn't attached to me. So we'll see how we go. So as Director at Blue Salt Consulting, I'm proud to lead a team that is known for delivering innovative, impact-driven projects across regional Australia. We've secured over $70 million of funding for client projects, and I lead our team in supporting our clients to shape unique projects into competitive, scalable applications and influencing the strategic direction of government through high-level planning and advisory work. So around 30% of our project work... Oh, thank you. If I'll look at you meaningfully and you'll do the work. Thank you so much. So around 30% of our work is funding submissions, and the other 70% is working with state and local government agencies on their planning processes and strategic projects. So this morning's session, meaningful look, this morning's session will cover the application process, some common pitfalls, and what makes a standout application, before looking through some examples of the types of responses that will hit the mark. Before you begin the writing process, it's essential that you deeply understand the focus of the WA Innovators of the Year program. Fully familiarise yourself with the guidelines, and you should consider the previous innovators and their characteristics. Understanding how your application is going to be assessed is crucial. The panel looks for 4 things: a clear innovation, strong market potential, team capability, and impact. You need to hit all 4 areas to strongly stand out. It's not just about having a good idea. It's about convincing others that your concept is viable, scalable, and meaningful. This program is highly competitive, so even if you've been unsuccessful in the past, you shouldn't discount applying again, as the program generally receives more outstanding applications than spaces available, as well as your competitiveness has likely improved since you last made a submission, as you've continued to advance your concept. No one is submitting an application or a funding submission that they believe to be of a poor standard, but every program and funding opportunity receives applications that unknowingly miss the mark. To reduce the risk of this falling into this category, let's look at some of the common pitfalls in applications, whether they be for award programs like the Innovators of the Year or in a funding submission. Some key pitfalls to avoid include having a vague innovation description, using ambiguous language that can lead for confusion for reviewers. Be clear about what your innovation entails and how it addresses a specific market need. You may be unclear, or you may not clearly define your competitive advantage. You need to clearly articulate what sets your innovation apart from others in the market. If you fail to communicate this differentiation, your application may struggle to succeed. A weak commercialisation strategy or insufficient financial or market data. Demonstrating the feasibility of your project is difficult without strong data. Be sure to highlight this aspect effectively and avoid optimism without evidence. Additionally, neglecting to express your social, economic and environmental impact can greatly affect the outcome of your application. You really need to explain and ideally quantify the public benefit of your work. As we move forward, keep these pitfalls in mind. They not only create challenges, but they also present an opportunity for you to refine your strategy and strengthen your application, because other applicants may not consider how they can address them as strongly. So, what's the difference between a good application and a great one? Good applications meet the brief, but a standout application tells a compelling story. They inspire confidence, clearly show traction, and articulate how the innovation will make a difference. This slide compares and contrasts the two, so you can see what elevates an application into the top tier. We'll look at these elements in detail. To help illustrate our message, with each element we've included a teaser for some content for a fictional applicant and how they may have addressed some of these points. Storytelling matters. You want to engage emotionally and strategically with the reader. Start with your problem and show why it matters. Talk about your why. What drove you to create this solution? And importantly, consider how it aligns with the WA government priorities like job creation, economic diversification, regional growth, key for me, and sustainability. To stand out, you need to focus on how your solution not only addresses an urgent issue, but also explain this in a way that makes it accessible and impactful for the reader. Remember that while you're deeply familiar with your situation and technical context, your reader may not be. Your content needs to be accessible to the generalist who may be assessing your application. Scalability is a big deal. A niche idea with limited reach may not excite the judges as much as a solution that can expand into other regions or countries. Demonstrate your understanding of the market opportunity and show how your model supports long-term growth. This is where numbers talk. Have you sold something, run a pilot, signed a partnership agreement, won a grant, secured media coverage? These are the types of things that build trust. You're proving that there is real interest and early success. Innovation is only as good as the team behind it. Highlight the key people involved and their experience. If your team is early stage, mention your advisors and partners that can bring credibility to your application. Judges need to trust that you can deliver on your plan. Judges want to see that you're thinking ahead. What's your plan for the future? What will you do in the next 12 to 24 months? How will you use the funding? What does success look like? And how have you aligned your plans with the WA government priorities? This part is your chance to show how defensible your idea is. You can talk about patents, trademarks, trade secrets, exclusive deals. If you're first to market or doing something that no one else can, Highlight it. The impact piece is key to scoring highly. What are the real-world benefits that your innovation can deliver? Think jobs, productivity, environmental sustainability, or benefits for underrepresented communities. And if you can quantify that impact, do so. To help provide some deep understanding to these principles, we've undertaken an analysis of 2 exceptional past applicants, anonymised here for privacy. You'll notice that they excelled in every area, demonstrating clear innovation, targeting a significant market, possessing a strong team, having intellectual property, and achieving broad impact. These serve to illustrate what excellence truly looks like in practice. Let's consider the first applicant's innovative solution. This applicant brings a groundbreaking disruptive technology featuring 3 major advancements. It's not just innovative, it directly addressed a critical global problem. We see strong market demand with significant cost savings explained, along with enhanced efficiency and a unique approach that emphasised its originality and scalability. It had a competitive edge that positioned them well in a large market with strong revenue streams from licensing, manufacturing and services. Their submission highlighted their clear commercial and financial potential. They have a well-structured execution plan with defined milestones and were supported by a team of experienced professionals and strategic university partnerships. And finally, their intellectual property strategy is robust. Economically, they're reducing reliance on imports, they're creating jobs and providing workforce training right in Australia, Western Australia. And environmentally, they're committed to achieving net zero emissions through solar energy. Overall, this applicant showcased how innovation can create meaningful impact across a range of dimensions. Diving into our second applicant, they also presented a strong case. This applicant showcased a groundbreaking, well-defined innovation. It wasn't just about being innovative. Again, they looked at a major global challenge. Their competitive advantage lay in being differentiated from existing solutions and boasted both a financial and technical edge. It set them apart in a competitive market with a scalable revenue model. They made sure that they outlined a clear path to scale through a 3-phase approach, emphasising strategic partnerships that could help propel that growth. Their team was highly skilled and was supported by key industry collaborations that enhanced their credibility. In terms of impact, they highlighted significant economic benefits, including a venture capital influx and job creation, particularly for WA industries. Plus, they focused on environmental outcomes, such as pollution reduction and climate-positive production. So as we see, this applicant not only met the criteria, but articulated a comprehensive vision for both economic and environmental impact. So to wrap up, a strong application is clear, compelling and complete. These type of applications blend innovation with strategy and execution. The best applications don't just describe an idea, they make a case for investment and impact. And that is what you want to do. To position your application well, keep these points in mind. It's not enough to be good. You must share the value and impact of your innovation in a clear and tangible manner. I trust those innovators in the room are now itching to start your application, and the assessors this year will be grappling with an overwhelming number of compelling proposals this year. To explore the application process in a little more detail, I will invite a couple of alumni, or I don't know if you call yourself alumni, but I'm calling you alumni, of the WA Innovator of the Year program. So Nipanjana Patra of Pretech Devices and Jeremy Hadfield of Demius Laboratories to hear about their experience in the application process. And I had in my head we're going to have some chairs, but we don't, so we'll hang around out the front. That's all good. We don't need chairs. Yeah. Awesome. There were chairs. It's not a chair deficit. So these two innovators both have had the opportunity to go through the program, and I had a quick chat with Nipanjana earlier today, but I haven't quite managed to meet Jeremy as yet, but we're going to get to know them both a bit now. So we're curious to know if either of you have any memories back through the mists of time. I know that you feel like it was a long time ago. Do you feel like it was a long time ago? A year? Was it a year ago?
So.
Yes, a bit over a year. So if you're going through pain, don't worry, it will be over and it will be a distant memory. So can you remember back to when you were doing the application process? Was there anything you went through yourself in getting prepared and ready to write the application?
I actually, when doing that process, I used another person who was much better at communication. So I'm a very technical person, and don't like to talk too much about what's going to happen, but more about what we're doing right now. And when you're planning this process, you have to look forward to the future and talk about what's possible. And people with better communication skills are obviously better at articulating that. So I think pairing up people that are technical with people that have good communication skills is a good approach to creating an application.
Yeah, and definitely, and sometimes it's really hard to understand what your unique value is and articulate that. So we definitely notice in working with perhaps more advanced businesses than you guys might be really in your business and know what makes you different and special, but maybe a more established business just thinks, isn't everyone else like this? And they don't realise that there's some special sauce that they need to be able to articulate and explain to people who are assessing their application. And often phoning a friend, as you were, they can say, "Oh, but you're doing this thing. That's what this question is asking about," and helping you articulate that. So that's a great tip. Did you have any thoughts about how you got on board with the application?
I think same issue. I'm a more technical person, so writing it in third person helps.
Yes.
And secondly, the award is on your future value. I mean, so to say. So don't just stop writing at when you are writing whatever you have. What you have projected in the next 2 months, in that time scale, your application will be assessed. Next 6 months, that's when you are delivering your pitch. So include those in the application, that what you have planned in the immediate future in the next 6 months, that adds value to it. And also, this 4 criteria is pretty much common in every grant that WA has. So this is, in a way, a very good practice session to write what you want to write and get the skill out of for writing that. So.
Yeah, and definitely writing in the third person is helpful because it's way easier to say nice things about other people than it is for yourself. Certainly, well, I'm a bit self-deprecating. You may or may not think that, but it is much easier to explain things when it's not you, and be effusive about a third party, and thinking about, yes, what's your future activities that you will be delivering? So we'll often see people get bogged down in either what's happened as opposed to where are they heading, or alternatively the detail. So we've got 2 technical experts here and you're passionate about the technical thing, but when you actually look at the questions, often there's very little consideration for the technical element of what you're doing, even on major projects. So for example, we might prepare a funding submission for $5 million for a project for maybe a government agency or a government organisation or not-for-profit. There'll be almost no question about what are you doing. It's all about how are you going to do it and what's the impact. And we'll often see people tackle it from the opposite end, where they want to spend a lot of time in their application talking about what they're doing rather than impact and how. So people with a really compelling proposition miss out because they miss the questions are really asking about. Did you have a particularly challenging part of the application, either of you, or was anything other than if you're not a writer, it's hard?
I suppose you're always very busy doing your innovation, and it's taking the time to there's a lot of words that you need to be put down to make this application, but I think that it's actually useful in other than actually applying for this grant, in formulating your thoughts around those 4 areas is actually useful for your business anyways. It's actually worth the time to do it, even if you don't end up proceeding through to the next stage. It's actually very helpful for your innovation business to do that anyway.
Yep. That's a good point about the time also. So I would say a vast number of startups and also, to be honest, local governments, other agencies will come to us with maybe 1 to 2 weeks before a funding submission or an application process closes, and we can't help them. There's not enough time. And you need to be thinking of it like that when the funding submission or when a process opens, need to be aware of it, and then mapping yourself out a timeline of it closes here. I want to have it submitted 24 hours beforehand, so you're not in a sweat minutes before the submission closes. When do you need to have your final draft done by? When do you need to have asked someone for input into it? And map it back and realise you actually needed to start on it yesterday. But giving yourself some timelines, because something that can be done at any time is done at no time. So definitely that organisation with the timing is also very helpful, because you're busy, and if you don't have it booked in, won't happen. Any thoughts on your most difficult part, Nipanjana?
I literally submitted the application a day before the deadline.
Well done.
Because I saw the advertisement. I missed everything about launching and everything last year. I didn't know. I got to know about this 3 days before the deadline. So I did it in 2 days. The advantage of that is that I dedicated those 2 days into this and stopped every other engagement. The thinking process, so the first thing that I do is go by the guideline, letter by letter, page to page, first to end, to develop whether it's possible to apply or not. So critically evaluating the process was very helpful. And then having that dedicated time. Also, like, I decided to do it, that's part of answer of my next question, but we don't have as entrepreneurs that any qualifying mark every now and then to assess where you are in your work. I come from an academic background. There are standard markers that you assessed with your peers and where your H-index is or how many citations you got that year, but there's nothing here. So I keep applying for accelerator programs and programs like this to, in my head, it puts me in a space that, okay, where I am in respect to others of my kind. So that thinking process was very set in those 2 days. I remember very well that this application, because the 2 days, all I'm thinking is, where do I fit in? Do I fit in? What worse would happen? I wouldn't get it. So I'm not saying start your application 3 days before the deadline. All I'm saying is a dedicate time. Like, don't have like 1 month to write it, but concentrate your thinking process around your what you want to put in.
Yes. Yeah, so definitely that scheduling, like in the ideal world, if you'd have realised about it, you could have picked a convenient time, taken the time off, but then put it in a drawer and come back to it, metaphorical drawer, because we're not right. Yeah, that's right, and you can come back to it, review it, you can ask other people to look at it. So, but well done, because whatever you put in was obviously gold. So great effort there. Any thoughts on what was... we've already talked about what was tricky. Ignore me. So time's moved on. So last, we've got a minute before we need to move on. So do you have any last advice to future applicants?
Make yourself vulnerable. Like, you will know that you don't know so many things about yourself while writing, and claim your glory. That is one place where I think we all step back a little bit. Claim your glory. You have earned it. And thirdly is that if you're through, then do attend the accelerator program. That is one of the things that focused on company and business in a way that we haven't had in other accelerator programs. It's also because pre-revenue companies are often very small. You don't perceive always the identity of a business in your mind. it's still in the project mindset. So when you are through the accelerator program, you will start to see yourself as a business identity. That's how everybody is treating you. And that really helps in training your skills, especially if you're CEO or CTO. You're probably not thinking a lot about business in your mind yet. So do go through that. Thanks.
My advice would be that your innovation doesn't have to be amazing or sexy or whatever the word is to say that. And ours is a technology about looking at grain, so it's not the most exciting thing for the Joe Blow, but it's more about.
It is exciting.
Is it doing something that is going to have a big impact? It doesn't have to be something that's super special, but it can be something that's very impactful. And throw your hat into the ring, and you never know what will happen. So.
And just to add, this is what I felt repeatedly, that when you're in a room full of people who are just like you, you might think your technology is not interesting, but I talked about it to my mom, to my husband, that this is what people are doing, who are in this phase. So you get a lot more, validation sort of for what you're doing when you're applying for this kind.
Oh, awesome. Thank you both for sharing. And 100%, being in your business, it's really hard to assess how are you performing against others. On the outside, everyone else looks really glossy and sexy, and you might feel like a hot mess inside. But this is an opportunity to think about what you're doing and get that down on paper, realise you might be more together than you thought, maybe identify some areas where you need to tidy things up a bit, but then to work with other people and understand what's going on. It's a really special opportunity. So I would encourage you to apply, go through that process, and hopefully you might be part of this year's cohort. Thank you everyone for your time, and I'll pass back to Scott.
Nice. Thank you so much, Anna, and everyone else for taking us through those.
How exciting. Who's excited to submit their application? Woo, we've got one here. Show of hands. Who else is excited to be putting in an application this year? Yep, got a few. How exciting. So while Scott's clicking through the slides, I just thought a few boring housekeeping things because we've got a lot of people who are new to Morning Startup. Most importantly, toilets.
Yes. Follow the Beecham Group banner down the corridor there, up the stairs. You'll find some. There's also some super fancy new ones behind this wall, but you do need a magical Riff swipe card to get in there. So hit me up or any other Space Cube people. They can probably let you in.
And coffees.
And coffees, yes.
The most important part.
Who wants another coffee?
Yes.
All right. Get in the line, quick.
Can you just remind people they need to say they're part of this?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Good idea.
So when you go to Joey Zaza's, most important part, courtesy of our fantastic sponsors, you don't need to pay. Say you're from Morning Startup, and happy days. You're caffeinated.
2 weeks' time, we've got the lovely Erin Clark talking about org design, so make sure you come back to Morning Startup. And remember, every 2 weeks we're here, or Founder Sundowner on the first Wednesday of every month, so I'd love to see some more of you along tonight. But thanks very much for coming. We've got some food at the back. Thanks to Jitsi. Get to know each other, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Don't forget to apply.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.